Alright, so we're going to go through the week of April 1, 2019. Quiz answers. So hijack opens 2, 3 players call, and now it's on the big blind. What do you guys think?
I need to get connected 1 second.
Okay, so based off the sims that you went through in the last session, I think the freeze would be the call because the opener and the callers are aren't going to have many freeze in their range, so we have a decent chance of hitting a set. And for that reason, I'd say the fours then would fall into call or fold because they'd have slightly more fours, I guess.
Okay, so what are we thinking so far?
Oh, did my voice
so
not come through?
threes is going to be call, and what are you thinking? Call, fold, or fours?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah, because it has no removal for going for a raise, so I can't see either of the pairs going for a raise here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, there we go. I can see this. I think Jack 10 can call or raise, and then Queen 10 will raise. Always raise, because the Queen 10 just has slightly better blockers to his continue range. So like when you squeeze.
Sure.
Yeah? Oh.
Yeah, so that's the answer there. I think I made this using the old sims. I'm gonna have to change this question. Anyway, this is what it looks like now. So this is the one with higher precision. I think I made that one with a medium precision sim. Anyway, with a higher precision, you have the lower pocket pairs always calling, and then these ones both squeezing. Was it Queen Jack or Queen 10? Yeah, Queen Jack would basically call or fold. The other one's always squeeze. But even if you play like that, your EV would be pretty damn close. Okay, low jack opens to 2, hijack folds, button calls, and you're on the big blind. So looking at the differences between squeezing these kinds of hands, whether it's suited or not suited.
So I'd imagine the suited ones are going to be the ones that are either raise or call, because I can't see us folding either of them, at least not compared to the offsuit variants.
Yep. I think, oh, you want to go?
Oh yeah. I was going to say, just based off, just being a slightly better hand and better removal, I'd imagine the Queen Jack off would be the call or fold, and the Queen 10 off would just be a pure fold.
So what are we doing with these?
So I think the Queen Jack will once again raise, and then Queen 10 raise or call.
I think it might be the other way, just because I know that at least from some of the single way sims, Queen Jack suited really likes to call out of position. Like I know that against a button open, Queen Jack suited is 3-bet a lot less than Queen 10 suited, and then other suited broadways. So I wonder if it's a similar situation here, where Queen Jack is going to want to call more than the Queen 10.
Yeah, so when you go looking at the squeeze spots, you don't really have to have strong Broadway hands in your calling range. Especially not ones that are suited, because you're going to have a bunch of weaker suited stuff to make flushes with anyway. Right, you don't have to have these. These can just be used as their blockers and slightly higher equity. So this one's going to be the raise, this one's going to be the raise or call.
Okay.
Maybe I should have said this for the small blind. Anyway, so it looks like, I don't know what I did with this sim. Maybe it was from a lower, different one. Yeah, Queen 10 there is always cool. Does it have an always call option? I think the raise or call should just be an always call. Anyway, call or fold, always raise. This is kind of what the things look like, right? Compare it to if the button hadn't called yet, right? Much more polar. But once the button calls, it's a lot less polar. The size is also slightly smaller. In terms of as a percentage of the pot, right? You can look at here. You've got much more 200%, and after the call, it's much more 150%. And Jack's being put in there versus Jack's not being put in there, right? So after there's a call, you can 3-bet one more pocket pair than you could previously, and the range of hands gets a little bit more merged in the sense that because you don't really need to have a hand like top pair second kicker, top pair third kicker in your calling range going multi-way, because they don't win as many pots. They can't be value bet as often multi-way rather than heads up. You put them in your 3-bet range to try and get into a heads up situation.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
So if you look at here, this is before the big blind. It was before the button calls. You've got Ace Queen, King Queen suited, Ace Jack suited, King Jack suited, all those kinds of hands being put into the calling range rather than the 3-bet range. And the reason is because making top pair second kicker usually means you're going to be able to value bet at some stage, right? Or at least call down. But multi-way, it's not necessarily the case anymore. Making top pair second kicker isn't quite as good. Actually, it's a lot less good. And the ability to be able to value bet on a future street is diminished by quite a lot by the fact that it's going multi-way. So the calling expectation of those hands has gone down by a lot compared to the raising expectation.
So you want to raise them so you can get heads up?
Yeah, essentially.
Yep.
Because then making top pair second kicker, top pair third kicker, that kind of stuff means you'll be able to value bet.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, this one. So hijack opens to 2, small blind calls, big blind squeezes, and where the hijack we're looking to continue.
So I think for sure Ace King's not folding, and I'd say just easy call or raise, leaning towards raising. Ace King.
So you want to call or raise?
Because it's just really, it's just super strong.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd guess that the ace nine's the raise or fold because it has the ace blocker, but it doesn't play as well like as a call because we don't have much connectedness.
Yep, good.
I've noticed that like the medium suited connectors like 10-9, Jack-10 don't like to call free bets a huge amount. So I'm guessing King Queen's the call and Jack-10's the call or fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I mean, Jack-10's fairly easily dominated. But then again, the suited connectedness makes it. So you can probably just call. So this
before
is
you
the
go,
yep.
Before you go, like just a prediction, I guess. Like so, once the small blind calls, the big blind's gonna be raising a lot more, like King Jack suited, Ace Jack suited, etc. Right? So the Jack-10 does get dominated. Whereas before, when like a couple days ago, or was it yesterday? When he's not doing that, when he's doing it, like when those hands call, then like the Jack-10 is going to be stronger because like you can be confident that you hit a top pair with your Jack, don't have to worry about your kicker, right? So
yeah, I mean the Jack-10's fairly easily dominated regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Dominated in the sense, and if you got your opponent's got an overpair, they end up blocking your straights. So whether or not the small blind had called, you're still going to be folding it all the time. So this is it there. King Queen suited, always calls. Ace 9 suited, or raise or fold. call or fold, and then the raise or call. Pretty straightforward, I think that one was. Alright, cutoff opens to 2.5, button calls, small blind calls. That's not the big blind. So what do we think?
I think the two ones which raise would be the two Broadway ones, and I guess Queen 10, which raise more often just because it's slightly stronger than the Jack 10. Since in the squeeze spots, based on the previous ones, we'd be going more linear rather than polar.
Okay. Any other answers?
I was gonna do it the opposite way by saying that 7-6 and Ace-3, like our hands that play fine multi-way, right? So a hand like Queen 10 suited isn't gonna have a lot of fun playing multi-way. When it hits top pair, so they're gonna want to raise like Queen 10, Jack 10. But hands like the suited Ace and the suited connector, like their main playability, like the Ace-3 is mainly for the flushes, and like you might flush over flush someone, you just call, which is great for you. And then the 7-6 also call for the deeper SPR with its straight possibilities and flush possibility, I guess.
All right.
So where they go though, I can't imagine folding 7-6 suited here very often, but I also don't want to fold Ace-3.
I think maybe the 7-6 is the call or fold for the same reason that, the pocket sixes and sevens, like the mid pairs, are also a fold in this spot, because a lot of our cards that can make us two pair are going to be already dead. And also we can get over flushed with it. So I think 7-6 might be call or fold, and then Ace-3 is a pure call because we dominate all the other suited hands.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also like I assume that the 3 is fairly unblocked, so like you might hit trip 3s or something.
All right, any other?
I mean, I'd guess that the Queen 10 would be pure raise, and then the Jack 10 raise or call, but just because if we're going more linear in this sort of spot with our raises, I'd think the stronger hand would raise more often. But yeah, I'm not sure what reason we'd have for it to be the other way.
What do you think the button is going to be calling with? What's the top of the button's range?
Ace Queen off, I think.
Ace Queen off, what else?
Jacks.
Probably some Ace Jack in there.
Ace Queen off suit, Jacks and 10s, right? So knowing that the button's going to basically always continue with Ace Queen off suit, Jacks and 10s, which of these is better to raise?
The Jack 10, because we block both the pair, but the top of the pair range of button.
Yep, and we're not dominated by the Ace Queen.
Yep.
Alright. So it looks like here, so all the pocket pairs will call here. It's usually only when there's 3 callers and pocket pairs start to fold. Something suited, all the suit connectors are call or fold. The suit aces like to continue, and then like a lot of the Broadway is raising. Alright. Cut opens to 2, button calls, big blind squeezes. Now it's us defending against the squeeze. Pretty big squeeze.
Calling 6s to set mine is dubious.
Yep, okay.
So probably going to be folding 6s. Either that or call or fold. I don't really see any merit to raising it, so
All right, good.
Yeah. So probably fold sixes.
And what about the other hands?
I'd imagine the ace queens call or fold because the button never has us dominated, so we don't really mind if the button comes in when we have ace queen, and we dominate a lot of the free bet range of the big blind still with ace queen.
I was going to say that ace queen raises or fold, and the reason is the blocker effects are pretty solid.
All right. And the other hands?
I'd guess the ace four is a raise or fold, because calling with that would just seem really bad in this spot.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Should I put this here?
Ace four raise or fold. Yeah.
What are we doing with queen jack?
I think because we're out of position to the button, which has a lot of hands that dominate us, we just have to fold the queen jack. Because we don't do too well against either player's range with the queen jack, whereas with sixes we'd be live.
Okay.
Good.
So sixes call or fold.
This goes here. Awesome. So the ranges look like here. Yeah, I mean, this is for the 50% raise. But yeah, I mean, this is what the big blind squeezing range is going to look like. You know, basically 10s plus all the suited broadways, ace queen, and then some of the offsuit broadways, and then some other bluffs on top of that. So given that ace queen is going to be always a continue because it dominates the majority of that range, while queen jack is dominated by a lot
Dominated.
of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sixes is a call forward because it is one of those pure bluff catcher type hands, right? Pure bluff catchers tend to call or fold. Okay, so cutoff opens 2.5. Call the button. Small blind squeezes. And now it's back on us. So what hands are we going to always call the squeeze with after it folds around?
So always call.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So looking at the last question, sixes were call or fold. In a pretty similar spot. No, we were the first. No, so.
I think the king queen suited might be an always call because the squeezing range should again be pretty linear, and king queen plays pretty well against there because we dominate any non-ace hand, so we'd be dominating a lot of the queen jacks, jack tens, king queens. Oh, sorry, jack tens. And
I could see that.
I guess ace queen's a call for the same reason. Although I'm not sure if we'd be back raising ace queen ever. But we'd definitely never be folding the ace queen.
So one of these is a call. So what else are we going to call?
Could we call the 6-5 because it has like the highest equity of because it has because it plays better against the other hands? As in, like, we're never really dominated. It's basically
Yeah, I mean, so hands that always call.
yeah.
So if you always call, it usually means that you either beat some value or heavily block the value. Right. Otherwise you're a pure bluff catcher, and so you're going to be indifferent between calling and folding.
Okay, so in that case, I'd imagine 8s and 9s also fall into that category of pure bluff catcher since we block no value there. So I guess 6-5, 8s and 9s aren't always calls.
I'm guessing ace 10 suited and king queen suited. Because ace 10 dominates all the tens, and then king jack. Sorry, did I say king queen? I'm guessing ace 10 suited and king jack suited because ace 10 like dominates all the tens, and then. Yeah, not king jack.
Maybe swap out the king jack for tens because the tens dominate a lot of the 10x broadways, even though we do block a lot of them too.
Like it's not like tens really dominate like something like king 10 suited, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
That's I think that's the definition of domination.
Yeah, so I guess tens make it into the always call. Do we have a back raise range in this spot actually?
You have to.
You usually don't have to back raise when you're in position.
Okay, so I guess we don't need a back raise range in this spot, yeah.
No. And you're not really deep enough to do it.
Okay. So the back raise spots we'd only really find in like deeper sims or when we're out of position, like in small blind spots or something.
Yeah, usually in small blind. I mean, when in deeper spots, the buttons flooding range actually shrinks because three betting becomes better for him.
Okay.
So you don't see a lot of back raising for the button. You really only back raise the small blind because you're out of position. You end up having almost no calling range, and you end up just back raising.
Okay.
All right, so one more. So we've got to decide between king jack and ace 10.
King jack just loses to ace jack and king queen, whereas ace 10, like, it's not like you're getting ready to stack off when you hit an ace.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because I guess we'd play ace 10 for the same reason we play the tens, right? Because it also dominates all the 10x.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's the answer?
Ace 10 suited?
Ace 10 suited just loses to almost every ace in the opponent's range.
Yeah, so we discussed that, so it dominates all the tens, and then it's not like you're going to start stacking off every ace, but the king jack loses to ace jack, as well as king queen and ace king.
There's going to be a lot more ace high boards than there will be 10 high boards.
Yeah. But
There's going to be like twice as many ace high boards and 10 high boards.
so clearly it's king jack, but like, are we not worried about like all the stuff we get crushed by?
So here, ace 10, it loses to all the aces,
Ace king.
all the ace x in the opponent's range, and really only dominates the 10x, and the ace x is much more heavy.
Mm-hmm.
King jack, on the other hand, dominates some jack x. Even dominates a little bit of king x. So really only worry about ace king and king queen. Ace jack, yeah, but there's not like going to be a huge amount of that in the opponent's range because they don't have the offsuit versions. It's really offsuit versions that you're worried about.
So
ace 10, you'll end up losing to ace queen, ace king offsuit, which is very heavy. 3 times the number of combinations of the offsuit version and the suited version.
I'm not disputing it. Clearly, it's in front of us. But doesn't king jack lose to all the ace king, I guess a lot of the king queen, about half of them king queen off raise, but ace queen off all of them do. Is that something that's playing into it?
Yeah, and so king jack is just dominated by less than ace 10 is. You can plug it into Equilab if you want to have a look.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
Could it also be because on a lot of king high boards we just get barreled into, so we can call down with king jack more? Because a lot of like ace queen type hands are going to barrel on king high boards, whereas on ace high boards we won't get barreled into as much when we have ace 10.
Just gonna weight some of these at half. And then that. Maybe these two should be like 30. Anyway, close enough. Close enough. And we can remove a king and a jack.
Can't you just put in king jack suited?
It's the same. No, I mean, yeah, we could do that actually.
Like
just
right up
look
for
at,
king jack suited?
look at the two ranges. Look at the two hands, king suited, ace 10 suited. It's got a bit more equity. What else is there? This other stuff.
Which one has more equity?
Probably doesn't really impact it too much. Okay. So, anyway, let's have a look at king jack suited first. Let's have a look at ace 10 suited first. As I said, what's dominated by? It's dominated by tens, jacks, ace, queens, kings, all of this stuff. Not dominated by that. Chopping with that. Dominated by 60%. Alright, and now king jack is dominated by this. 44%.
You want to throw an ace jack?
47%.
The ace jack off too?
Oh yeah, 58%. So that's king jack suited, dominated by half of it, and then the other half you're good against. You've got at least 50% equity against, or around 50% equity against the rest of the range. So that was king jack. We did ace 10 to me. What was ace 10 against? 60%.
Yeah, 60%.
65%. Yeah, I mean it's 61%. Yeah, I mean it's not looking pretty for the ace 10 compared to the king jack in terms of which hands get dominated more. Even though ace 10's got more equity, it just gets dominated a lot.
Well,
like when an ace or a 10 comes, he's still kind of nasty for you.
yeah, like just equity. I would never say that just equity is something we go by, because then you start playing stuff. Like you start playing weird stuff. I'm sure sixes does better in equity than like some other hands, but it doesn't matter.
So that's the domination proportion of it. Let's have a look at what hands they dominate. So ace goes with ace 10, ace 10 dominates these, and this, and this. 14%. It's dominated by ace 10. King jack. What is it going to dominate? This, this. 13%.
So ace 10 more. Yeah.
I mean, it's a tiny amount. I don't think it makes up for the fact that ace 10 gets dominated by a lot more.
Yeah.
10%
All right.
more. Yeah.
Okay. I'd assume they're pretty close.
I
Like
mean,
the EVs?
usually in a lot of these spots, well, I mean, we know ace 10 is going to be 0. Then calling wins half a big blind. So it's not that close. It's not that close.
Okay. Yeah, that's not close. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it just ace 10 just gets dominated by a lot. King Jack less so. I mean, it's difficult to see that, just eyeballing it. But once you plug it into a thing, and if you've done that for a while, you'll be able to see what gets dominated by what. I think the main difference is going to be that extra pocket pair that ace 10 it is dominated by. We forgot to put the blockers in. We should do that. That's why I wanted to do the whole dead hand things first. Because then the range isn't accurate. Let's just do this. To simplify things. An ace and a 10. So how much is it dominated by, including the blockers? Including the blockers, 62.5 of this particular range. And the king and the jack. 56.25. Some of these should have been weighted in half. For these two, they should be weighted in half. Yeah, either way, the ace 10 gets dominated like 10% with 10% more of the range than king jack sort of does. Okay. Leger opens a 2. We call, squeeze. Yeah, it's on us. Same kind of idea.
All right. So what always continues? Like queens for sure, jacks for sure.
Yeah, and I'd imagine I can't see ace queen suited folding.
Ace queen suited. Yeah. Queens, jack,
Yeah.
ace queen suited for sure. Continue. Maybe ace 5 suited?
Ace 5 suited plays really poorly against the squeeze range. I can't see ace 5 suited being an always continue. If the squeeze range contains a bunch of suited broadways, though, I'd imagine 10s could continue for the same reason as the last hand, because it still dominates a lot of the jack.
Someone's got a lot of background noise.
Alright, so what are we thinking? So we've got to pick one more out of these.
Yeah, so while 10s dominates all the 10x, that's the big blind squeeze range, right?
So low jack button, small blind.
Yeah. Whereas, like 10s get dominated, or like 10s are like even with a lot of the suited Broadway stuff, like that don't have a 10, like king jack, king queen, ace jack suited, all those suited variants of those guys, and gets crushed by the pocket pairs like jacks, queens, kings, aces, right? Which are all in there. Ace 5 suited doesn't. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if ace 5 suited came in as a raise all the time here, like a 4-bet. Remember, this is a low jack open, right? Whereas previous ones were later position opens. So his range, so the small blind range is tighter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so maybe tens doesn't dominate as much.
No, so I'm saying tens will get like the proportion of jacks, queens, kings, aces in the small blind range here is going to be higher than it was before, right?
Yeah.
So what hand do you want against something like kings, queens, jacks? You want ace five suited.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it's going to have equity against everything that's not an ace, I guess.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So the squeeze range looks like that. Just have
Yeah.
the
See,
equity.
it's less tens.
In terms of the equity, the raw equity, we got ace 5, 36.2, tens is 43.1, ace jack 37.4, ace 10, 35.7. So what are you guys thinking? Just looking at this kind of range here. There's going to be some other stuff as well, I think. Like
Yeah, so-
suited connectors maybe.
So like what you probably heard us, but I'll maybe repeat it. So like against this range, the tens just get either dominated or is chopping
Mm-hmm.
with everything, right?
Yep.
Whereas ace five suited, especially against kings, queens, jacks, king, queen, jack, right? Like he's doing much better.
Yep. Sure.
Like no one does well against aces. No one does well against like you're still allowed to fold, right? An ace five suited is just gonna have an easier time playing against this range than tens will.
Yep. Good. I mean, if you had jacks, you'd always continue because you end up.
You beat the jacks.
Yeah, you dominate some of that range. You're chopping with the bottom of your opponent's value range, right?
Mm-hmm.
But tens, on the other hand, isn't within the range compared to like previously. So, for that reason, tens is indifferent between calling and folding. For the other hands in the question, I mean, jacks and queens are pretty obvious for the same reason why tens is not obvious. We've got ace queen suited. Now, what do you think ace jack and ace 10 might not make it in compared to ace 5?
Can you go back to the range there? So ace 10 gets beat by all the aces,
Mm-hmm.
and ace jack gets beat, beat by all the aces as well.
Yeah, and all the pocket pairs. So like both of them get
Yeah.
beat by this, which is 83%.
Yeah.
Of this range. Maybe we should put the blockers in. Okay, ace jack suited, for example. Ace jack suited is dominated by all of this. 75%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty heavily dominated by jacks. Ace 5 suited is dominated by this, right? So why do we want ace 5 suited over ace jack suited?
Sorry, ace 5 suited is dominated by what?
It's dominated by all of this. I mean, it's still dominated. It's dominated by the same things ace 10 suited is dominated by.
So is ace 5 suited really dominated by the kings, queens, jacks? Like it's losing to them. But dominated sort of implies like you hit one and it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a 5, it's not going to be good.
No, but
So
all right.
if you're dominated, you've only got one pair to you only got direct pair outs. So what else is there? The difference between ace 5 and ace jack?
From looking at the small blind squeeze range, because I have the sims up as well, just looks like small blind squeezes a 5-6 suited almost half the time, so we'd actually dominate with the ace-5 a small amount of the time.
Alright, sure. What does it squeeze up?
So there's also the straight outs.
5-4 and like this stuff.
This is low jack versus button. Button call.
Low jack. Low jack opens, we're in the button we call, and the small blind squeezes.
So small blind squeeze range. I think it's much wider than you put there. You have a half time queen 10 suited. Yes, you need to add and need to add queen 10 suited.
Do I have the squeeze ranges up?
And king 10 suited,
What do the old
25%.
squeeze ranges look like? The old squeeze ranges look like...
He have queen 10 suited and yes, half time ace 5.
What are they saying though? These are the old
Yeah,
ones.
something.
Oh no, these are the new ones. Yeah, that's what it looks
Yeah.
like, yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, that's what it looks like. So it's only half the jacks. Only half the king jack, half the 75% of all that stuff. So interesting. So think about this range now. Ace high suited appears to be doing a little bit better against it than ace jack suited. I mean, ace jack suited, well, it did dominate king jack and queen jack. That isn't always in there anymore. There's a little more king 10, queen 10 suited, king jack suited, jack 10 suited. Tiny bit of tens, but I think we can discount that. 6-5 suited, 5-4 suited, ace-4, ace-3. So ace-5 suited doesn't do too badly in terms of the hands that it dominates. I mean, it dominates the 6-5, dominates the 5-4, dominates the ace-4, dominates the ace-3. I mean, ace-jack suited dominates the king-jack and queen-jack and jack-10. But it is quite heavily dominated by jacks, and its straight draw isn't amazing because the straight draw at the top is heavily blocked by the cards in the opponent's hand on average, right?
Oh, and the ace-5, like you've got all the really 9, sorry, like maybe, yeah, say the 9 to the 5 straight still probably there for you, right?
Like 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, you still lose to the 10x.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that much 10x in this case.
Yeah. But, you know, you're not more worried about getting the straight with the 2 cards, and so the 2, 3, 4 is going to be much more likely. Although there is...
Oh, I literally
still
meant
plenty of
like
straight
all the
combinations.
straights. Yeah.
I mean, ace 5 with its 5 has much more possible straights that aren't very heavily blocked by the squeeze range than ace jack suited. So ace jack suited, while it's got a little more equity against the range, it'll make as many of the very strong hands. So we can
Could it also be because we
fiddle with this a little bit. Let's make these 75. And some 50s. And some 25s. What was this as well?
yeah, could the ace-5 suited also play better on flush boards since we unblock all the non-ace high Broadway flushes? So we can flush over flush with ace-5 a lot more often than ace-jack.
Yep, that's an important
Oh, yeah.
consideration. You unblock king jack, queen jack suited on those flush boards, which is nice.
Oh yeah, it's definitely true.
Ace ends a little bit better now than ace 5 in terms of raw equity. I guess we can go through it quickly. I mean, I think a bit more, rather than thinking about ranking the hands in terms of their raw equity because it's going to mislead us, we should probably think about it a bit more in terms of the square of our expected hand strength, right? Which is the valor of the hand. So I haven't gone, and I probably should do another tutorial on valor. But if you have a formal definition of valor, valor is the square of the is the expected hand strength squared. So like you get hand strength. So the hand strength function is just the across all possible runouts, how strong your hand is going to be in terms of ranking inside your opponent's range, relative to your opponent's range. So say for example, ace 5 suited.
Oh, like.
Sorry, you were saying something?
Yeah, so it's like the 98th percentile, you mean, right? Like this hand beats like X percent of his hands.
Yeah. So like, say
Right,
for example, ace 5 suited makes the ace high flush, right? On a board where ace high flushes are nuts, it would be 100%, right? Versus if it makes like top pair and it beats 45% of its range, it's only 45%.
Okay.
Equity is analogous to expected hand strength, right? There's a nice relationship between the two, between equity and expected hand strength. But
they're correlated, but not 1-to-1.
Yeah, I mean they're slightly different things. But what I'm talking about is expected hand strength squared. So you get hand strength, all right, whatever that number is, you square that, and then you average across all possible runouts. Right,
Can I ask why you square it?
Runouts. Yeah, so the reason why you square it is because it gives you a slightly more accurate representation of how much EV you're going to have.
Why?
Because hands that are very strong win a lot,
Yeah.
and hands that are middling don't win as much.
Let me be more specific then. Like, why is the relationship squared? Why not some other factor?
It could be another factor. When it's heads up, I would square it. When it's three-way, I'd probably cube it. Because there's two phase ranges. So like you have your hand strength. Let's just say it's H, right? So of some starting hand X, right? So H is a function that takes X across, that takes the hand X across all possible runouts, and then ranks it in the opponent's range. Once again, across all possible runouts, and then that's what it is, right? So, say for example, you have the hand X and you have a run out. Let's say that's R. The expected hand out. The hand strength of X across run out R is just where X is in terms of percentile in the opponent's range on run out R.
Yep.
Okay. So, say for example, on the ace 5, on the run out 2, 3, 4, king 9, this is going to be 100%. So then so this is the X and this is the run out R. H is going to be 1, right?
Well, doesn't it lose to 5-6?
Yeah. Okay. So we're going
to
be pretty close to 1, right?
Sorry for nitpicking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So it's going to be pretty high, right? Versus like ace 5 on the run out, ace 3, 6, 7 or something, right? It might only be like 0.4, Okay, because you end up losing to a lot of opponents' ace-x in their range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's H. The expected hand strength, so the E of H, is going to be for a hand X, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is going to be the expectation of H with the hand X, and then we basically treat R as a random variable, right? So let's say capital R, we've got a random variable capital R,
Mm-hmm.
and so across all possible random, across all possible runouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
H is going to be the average. H is going to give you the hand strength across a specific runout.
Yep.
Capital R is a random variable, right, representing all possible runouts, right,
Yep.
randomly. And the expected hand strength is basically going to be the expectation of that hand X across that runout, across all possible runouts. So you average all these runouts. So you calculate your H across all possible R's, and then you average them, and that gives you the expected hand strength.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what Valor is, and we'll get to this in probably another tutorial on Valor in particular, is the expected hand strength of X across all possible runouts. But then we square this guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this works a lot better heads up at estimating, at sort of ranking hands in terms of what the EV is going to be.
Yeah.
So valid defined like this basically means that we more heavily weight hands that can make nuttish hands.
Mm-hmm.
So here ace-5 across more runouts can make more nutted hands given your opponent's range. So there might be another variable here for the opponent's range, than ace-jack can. So it can make much more nutted hands, and so it's going to have a much higher valor. Right, valor being the ability to value bet future streets.
Yep.
The expected hand strength squared means that when we make a very nutted hand, H squared is going to be still close to 1, but versus if we make a middling hand, right, it's going to be much closer to 0, right? Because like 0.9, like 0.95 squared is going to be like 0.9 something, but 0.5 squared is going to be like a quarter, right? So if you make a hand that's in the middle of your opponent's range, you're not going to be able to value bet that, right, on that run out very often.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make a very strong hand, you are going to be able to value bet it. So across all possible runouts, if you can make nutted hands, right, we're going to more heavily weight them in expected hand strength squared. And of course, it's a very weak hand. Like, it's a very weak hand. You're not going to be able to value bet it at all. So it doesn't really matter in terms of the valor. So the valor here is can be, I think, formally defined as the expected hand strength squared. Right, and that gives us a little bit of a better idea about what the EV of the hands are going to be. So the expected hand strength, this guy here, is analogous to the equity, right? So this is the equity of the hand, like Q of X, right? But this, not really, right? You can't even calculate. You can't even use Q to calculate this, right? Because Q is literally the expectation of X across all those runouts, right? So then it's not the hand strength, it's like whether X wins or loses across those runouts. So we can't really square this value because Q squared would just give us this guy squared, which doesn't help because we want the E to be outside of the square rather than inside. Yeah. Anyway, I'll probably neaten that up and then run a specific tutorial on Valor itself.
Yeah, maybe we can just talk about it afterwards. I feel like we're getting off topic.
But if we think about, and it's going to be difficult to see because there's like 17,000, so 1,700 different strategically different runouts and like 22,000 different flops, different 1,700 different flops and a lot of different turns and rivers. I think 1,000 different turns and rivers. So it's going to be 50 choose 5, essentially different different combinations of runouts, and it's difficult for anyone to be able to see what the expected hand strength squared is going to be. But we can say that against the opponent's range in particular, Ace-5 suited has a little bit better of an ability to make more nutted hands than Ace-Jack. Ace-Jack ends up making more middling hands than Ace-5 does, right? It'll make either middle pair top kicker or top pair third kicker, that kind of stuff. While Ace-5, while it can make some top pairs without a kicker, it can make more straights and flushes that end up dominating parts of flushes in the opponent's range. So yeah, the extra ability to make straights means that the expected hand strength squared or the valor of this hand is slightly higher than the valor of the Ace-Jack, even though the equity is slightly lower. I mean, the equity is pretty close, but Ace-Jack is going to have that slight equity edge. But we're not super worried about equity because we have 3 more streets to play. So that's Ace-5 there. I think I accidentally closed Monk up, but doesn't matter. It's loading. Think about it in a different way. I guess we can use these to think about things without Monk for a while. Alright, hijack opens to 2.5. Cutoff folds, we call, and the big blind squeezes. Right, so we're thinking it's pretty similar to the last one. So the last one was low jack opens and we call, but here it's hijack opens. So what do you guys think now?
I think I'm again not folding ace queen suited for sure. King queen suited and jacks.
So this.
Yeah.
Then one more. What are we thinking?
I'd guess 10s because it's a hijack open this time, so there'd be a bunch more 10x in their range again. Which means we do begin to dominate them more again, unlike with the low jack open. And also because it's a big blind squeeze, it's a wider range for squeezing, so the 10s should dominate there more as well.
So thinking 10s maybe. What else could it be?
Maybe ace jack suited this time. So before he, let me just look. What was the last one? So the last time the small blind raised, right? This time the big blind raises, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
So who's gonna have more of the weak pocket pairs, the small blind or the big blind? Also the middling pocket pairs. Who's gonna have the more of the middling pocket pairs in the squeeze range? Is it gonna be the small blind or the big blind?
Oh, for sure the small blind.
Yeah. So even though the small blind had some of those middling pocket pairs, like 10s didn't always continue. So here the range is a bit wider, and it's big blind squeeze now because the big blind's squeezing, they've got much fewer of the pocket pairs that we dominate with the 10s. So 10s for the same reason is for slightly different reasons is still going to be indifferent.
So I think that so based on last tutorial, the March 25th quiz, like a lot of the stuff he's squeezing here is the suited Broadway type hands, and ace jack suited beats all the jack ones. It beats jack 10, beats queen jack, it beats king jack, and it beats ace 10.
Mm-hmm.
And ace 5 suited just doesn't anymore. Like the purpose of ace five suited was, oh,
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like previously, ace jack got dominated by a lot more than it dominated. And here, because the ranges are slightly wider, ace jack dominates a little bit more, right? So it's going to dominate all this jack x here, right? Jack 10, jack 9, jack 8, king jack.
Oh, jack
king
8.
Jack.
Damn,
I mean, it's low frequency stuff, but it dominates a bit more of that stuff.
Oh, I'm surprised jack 9's there too.
So this is the previous one, which is the small blind versus this one here. Right, when the ace jack was dominated by quite a lot and didn't quite dominate as much. So the ace jack here dominates a fair bit more, right, in proportion. Okay, because that's like difference in proportion. The ace jack does better than the ace 5. Yeah, right. Low opens 2. Button calls, mono calls. Now big blind squeezes, so squeeze over 2 calls, and we're the opener. So what are we continuing with?
Tough to fold queens here.
I'd imagine.
Tough to fold ace queen.
Yeah.
Ace queen suited, sorry.
Yeah. I think ace queen off for similar reasons, because again the squeeze range is going to be very linear and Broadway heavy, so ace queen just performs too well against it to fold, I suspect. But I might be wrong.
So big blind squeezes, huh? So just scroll down a bit for the last hand. Tens and jacks, huh? Okay, so I think compared to the last question, the big blind is obviously gonna have to squeeze a tighter range, right? Low jack versus high jack open.
Yeah, so if you compare it to question 8, that was a hijack open to question 7. Right, there's 1 call. So with the 2 calls, it's going to be a bit tighter, isn't it?
And the low jack.
Yeah, so compare it to question 7. Where a small blind squeeze over 1 call. This is here, big blind squeezing over 2 calls.
Oh, you're comparing it to the question 7. My bad. Okay.
So if we think about ace queen offsuit, if we think about the valor idea again, I mean, the difference in raw equity is roughly a little of 3.5 to 4%, right? But if we think about it in terms of valor, that 3.5 to 4%
has a lot of valor in it.
Has got a lot of valor in it.
Like if you look at like where the ace 5 flush ranks, it's huge, right?
Yeah, so that's comparing ace queen suited, ace queen offsuit. So that compares the suited version to the offsuit versions in terms of their relative valor, which is why suited hands are played before the offsuit hands.
Could jacks make it in? Because if big blind's squeezing quite linear, he should have a lot of broadways down to like the jack X broadways.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, the big blind probably just squeezes jacks all the time, so you end up beating some of the value, blocking some of the value range, or chopping with some of the value range.
Yeah.
Sorry, what squeezes jacks all the time?
The big blind here squeezes jacks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, if they're squeezing jacks all the time, you end up, if we've got jacks, we chop with some of the value.
Oh, and you've already got a little bit committed, so you have to call at least.
Yeah. I mean, you can like rip it as well, I think, sometimes.
Oh wow.
because there's the hampshires in the middle. You're going to risk
Oh yeah, the
98
extra 4.
98,
Extra 4.
98 to win 20. So it's not too bad. Alright, one more.
All right, it's either ace 5 suited or king queen suited.
What about ace jack?
Yeah, I can't see the ace 5 being a good continue in this spot because we're out of position against the button, and we're against a linear. Although I suppose being against a linear range didn't hurt us last time, but yeah, because we're out of position, I just don't see the ace 5 being a good continue.
Well, we're in position versus the big blind.
Yeah, it's just that button can come along with a lot of hands that have us in really bad shape, especially multi-way.
Big blind don't squeeze ace jack suited, so we need to fold ace jack suited.
It's tough to fold king queen suited. But low jack open, so it could be done.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare king, queen, like if it's gonna be a bit tighter than this, isn't it? Anyway, just looking at this, like here, king queen just gets wrecked by this 60%. Yeah, ace jack 60%. I mean, both ace jack and king queen get wrecked by the same amount. What does ace jack dominate? Ace jack dominates this, and like this. King queen dominate this. And
Jack,
this.
king jack. King jack.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, king queen dominates a lot less than ace jack does, and they get dominated by roughly the same amount.
Yeah, also looking at the squeeze range here, it looks like big blind actually has jack 9 suited like a third of the time, so perhaps ace jack actually performs a lot better.
Yeah, might have been jack 9 suited. Also, like king queen suited in this spot because it's got a lot more of the suited ace heavy. When you make a flush, it's not going to be quite as nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So in terms of the expected hand strength squared, like even though you do get that boost, it's not going to be quite as high as if you have the nut flush draw. So ace jack suited goes in there. Alright, last one. Bunker. Yeah, still loading. Accidentally closed it back here somewhere. Doesn't matter. Alright, next one. Hijack opens to 2. Cutoff calls. Button squeezes. So we're looking at continuing to squeeze out of position now. This is in position.
All right. Is anyone going to fault me for saying we're at least continuing ace king and queens?
No, I like that. Ace, king, queens.
All right. Yeah, just to get the easy ones out of the way. All right. Ace queen
And
suited.
Yep. And
All right.
jacks. I think jacks is the fourth one.
Anyone have a different idea? Or does everyone like
I
jacks?
can't really see the other hands being better to continue with than jacks here.
Yeah, okay. And it's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
There's no real trick. When you're out of position, right? You usually just want to have some more shredding value, and the jacks does have that. Alright. So we put everything in correctly. Got to go back and edit some of these quizzes with the new ranges. Yeah, well. it just die on me? Oh man. Oh no.
Okay, what's going on?
It didn't. Something happened. Quiz summary. Come on. Quiz summary. Finish quiz. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Oh well. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
It's going back to like maybe this would just be a better conversation for another time, or maybe after the recording. But like, I'm just is the squared coming out of any math, or is it just an approximation?
So, it's backed up by some of the abstraction techniques that are used to try and simplify the game tree is done with bucketing. You can bucket hand strengths. You can bucket your hand strengths according to like you can do stuff like bucket according to your equity, which doesn't work out very well. You can bucket stuff according to your expected hand strength, which works out a bit better than bucketing according to equity.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can bucket things according to expected hand strength squared, which ends up working way better than bucketing according to expected hand strength.
Okay. Like there's a good comparison I have. So like something like quadratic funding or quadratic payments. Like there's a really good reason that the squared pops out as opposed to like some other factor like n to the 2.5 or anything. Is there any reason that it's n squared and like you could theoretically like bucket it, like make a function of like your expectation, like to the like
Yeah,
make a function of your
you
expectation.
can use any arbitrary number.
Yeah, to like to the exponent, like to the power of anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like just most likely, if you try every single possible number, like 2.04 and 3 and like 2.6, or you do everything. I'm sure that some other number. Is there a reason that it's 2, not some other number? Am I missing something? Like
Yeah, I mean
if
the way that I see it is the reason why it's 2 in particular is because there's 2 players. You got yourself and your opponent. Right. And if it's going to be 3-way, then you'd probably bucket it in expected hand strength cube instead. Right. Yeah, that's basically it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in terms of like your expected value of a lot of the hands, it's going to be somewhat proportional to the square of the hand strength.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. All right.
By the expected, somewhat proportional to the expected hand strength squared. When you're going heads up, versus when you're in much more multi-way, because there's more players, it's going to be a higher factor there. A higher. But yeah, in terms of like solid math, like I don't think there's anything like I don't even think that the guys who like came up with that extraction technique thought of the reason why they chose squared instead of another number. So yeah, I'm not sure that answers your question, but
No, it does. It does. Like it like I would just worry. Yeah, no, it's exactly what I thought. It's not like it's not a rigorous like it doesn't fall out of any like rigorous math. It just but I definitely see like I understand the approximation that it makes, and I'm cool with it, right? Because like what type of hands do you value bet? It's typically like I don't know, something like the top. Yeah, like square root of 0.5. Yeah. Like if you look at your hands in terms of just their raw strength, right? like you bluff 0 to B.
Usually going to be value betting like the top quarter of your range.
Yeah.
For value or whatever.
Yeah.
Top third or top quarter, depending on what the bet size is.
Yeah. Like you bluff 0 to B, you like check B to V, and you like value bet greater than V, right?
Yeah, I mean for a pot size bet, V is going to be slightly higher than 2/3.
Yeah, I know. It depends on the size of the bet, but yeah, I'm good with this.
All right, and yeah, the expectation of the individual hands, I think is actually a function of their hand strength squared. Let me pull that up actually.
So
yeah, I'll turn off the recording and then I'll do it. So
yeah.
Thanks for the same quiz. I'll probably do a tutorial on Valor later. So anyone's watching this quiz later, I'm sure there'll be a tutorial on Valor by the time you watch it. So thanks for watching.